Carl's got a microphone here. There's also one right there in the chair.
Coach, before his season, Brett Bielman talked to us a little bit about what kind of athlete, what kind of student athlete he looks for when he recruits. I was wondering if you could kind of, maybe in general terms, share with us along those same lines, what kind of student athlete you look for when you're recruiting kids.
Well, I mean, you would look for somebody with a 4.0. You'd look for somebody that had college classes where they could come in as a freshman having 16 credits knocked out. You'd look for somebody with world-class speed, somebody that could jump out of the building, somebody that could shoot from half court as well as make layups. I can give you the perfect recruit. Well, what you look for is you look for somebody that's a good fit for this university and that where this university can suit the needs of the young man that's coming in. You know, it's got to be a fit. There are some people that we don't go after for certain reasons. There are probably some people that don't want to or feel they don't want to play here for either imagined or real reasons. So what you look for is you look for individuals who are willing to mesh, blend, become a part of something bigger than themselves and be able to handle that. And people who enjoy a challenge, because it certainly is here. I mean, you're going up against some of the best students in the world. When you compete in the classroom here, you're going against some very, very good world-class athletes when you compete on the court. You're also in a city that socially, for some people might be considered, most people consider it fun, but for some people be considered a challenge to be able to be a 2-semester sport athlete and handle the rigors of the schedule, of the practices, of the workouts, which includes the summers. So what you're looking for is the all-American guy, I would think. Because anybody that would have half a chance or a fair chance of making it here, they would have to have a lot going for them.
David in the back.
Coach, last year we were talking about replacing Trayvon and Jabo. This year it's the front court with John and Keaton and Tim. Can you talk about the guys you have coming in to maybe step in to replace them and the challenges that they face and replacing 3 productive guys?
Yeah, well, obviously with the players, we don't say, okay, you have to give us this because John Lohr gave us that. You have to give us this because Keaton Ankerville did. We didn't say anything to Josh Gosser that he had to be Jason Bohannon or, you know, of course, Jordan Taylor had played the year before, but he understood his mission and he understood what our concept was for him to accomplish for the team. Take care of the ball, take good shots, play good defense. So he went out and had an All-American year. And Josh Gosser had, take a look at all the freshmen in the country that were talked about and then take a look at the production of Josh Gosser. And he'd have to be one of the biggest surprises in the country to be a starter on a team that won 25 games, made it to the Sweet 16 as a freshman. So that's what replaced or filled into those spots for Jabo and Jordan. What's going to happen with those other 3 spots in the minutes? That's about 90 minutes a game, 90 plus with those 3 guys. I know there's guys that want to, and they're trying to prove that now on the practice court. What kind of numbers they'll put up, you know, might not be someone putting up John Lohr's numbers, but we don't ask for that. Or Keaton's or Tim's. We just ask for make your contributions. We have to figure out right now where the points are coming from. And usually, there's something about points. People usually step up and get them. You know, if you run good offense, get good shots, you have guys that are unselfish. And then defensively, you look at those 3 seniors and what they learned defensively, that's quite an accomplishment. I think they led the Big Ten all 4 years they were here in points given up. So they understood our defensive system, they understood our offensive system. Now we have to get guys who can fill those minutes that understand the system better than what they did the year before. Because if they were better, they would have played more minutes. Now we'll see if they can be held accountable for chewing up some of those minutes.
Jeff?
Well, you mentioned Jordan's mission going into last season. Does that change at all this year, given the personnel losses, or is it more of the same, but just tighten things up, do things better than did before?
Well, I just hope he doesn't think he has to score 40 a game this year. I think we're going to be in trouble if he does. He doesn't. He wants to be even more consistent. He wants to be more inclusive with his teammates, maybe in transition. There's some different things that we're looking at in trying to get done with a different size team maybe on the floor. We might not be as big. We could be, but, you know, then again, we might not be. But Jordan he just wants to play on a team that has a chance every night to be on the left-hand side, and that's not going to change. So, and he has a role, but the role never isn't in a box. You know, it's like right here, his role can expand, but his leadership won't change. He'll be an even better leader this year.
Let's go, Tim.
How do you feel Jordan will do with handling some of the expectations and carrying the load that he'll have to carry?
Well, I don't think there's anybody out there that plays this game that's ever played the point guard position that doesn't want a load. I mean, you want responsibility. Bring it on. Without being arrogant, there isn't anybody that's ever been worth talking about at that position is someone who wants the ball in their hands, wants to get his teammates involved, wants to be successful. So it won't change because there's nothing in practice that we're doing to try to make it seem like he's got to do anything out of the ordinary. He's a tough, competitive guard, very bright, and a guy that should have another good year.
Let's go, Jeff, again.
Well, last fall during the signing day, you were able to give us some comments early on the freshmen who will be coming in this year. And I know it's early in practice, but now that you've seen them a little bit, what's your early impression of where those guys stand and how they might be able to help this team?
Yeah, well, if you asked me last Tuesday, I could have given you an answer. If you asked me yesterday, I could have given you an answer. And you know what? 8 practices, I could have given you 8 different answers, which is not unusual for. But here's what I do like: they don't like to lose in the drills. You know, if you come in second, you come in last in the drills. So if there's 3 teams of 4 or 5 guys, and you go against each other, red, white, black jerseys. There's two teams that have to run because there's only one team that wins, and it's pretty competitive, and that's a good sign. Because if you don't have guys that are competing, you're not going to get any better. Again, for the 40th time since this is my 40th year of coaching, you tell them on the first day that if you don't go hard against me, you are being disrespectful to me. If I don't go hard at you every possession, every day, then I'm being disrespectful to you. So we just tell guys, if you really want to accomplish something each and every day, just try to beat the guy across from you. And, you know, try to make sure that you're making him have to work as hard as he can to get to the rim, to get a good shot, and make him have to move his feet to stop you when you're on offense. So if you have those kind of drills going on, then guys will develop. I got goosebumps when Petey Carrill told me Saturday night that he doesn't watch a lot of teams on television, but he watches us play. I said, why? Because we're slow? And he goes, no, because you move the ball, you play the way the game's supposed to be played. I thought, you know, that's pretty nice. Here's a guy, 80 years old, still working in the NBA, and actually had something nice to say about our guys. I thought that was pretty nice. So, but it's because we get guys that want to develop, you know, and I mean, here's a guy that everybody, my age idolizes as a coach because he was one of the best teachers ever. And his teams got better, and he always had upperclassmen, and which you tend to do in the Ivy League more so than probably any other league. You're playing with seniors and some juniors pretty much all the time. And he was such a good teacher at getting guys to understand their roles and how to play off of each other. So if these freshmen are competing, we got a chance to get better.
David?
Talking about development, can you talk a little about Jared and Evan and what you've seen from them and maybe their growth as post players?
Which Jared?
Bergen?
Yeah, I mean, Jared's ready. Got a taste last year, and I would think that somebody would just have to do whatever to keep him off the court. I don't know, we just got to keep him healthy, now that the shoulder is where it should be. He's worked hard. Scotty said he's one of the hardest working guys, and he set some records, I guess, in the weight room for bigs with his feet, doing some different things, and also his improvement with strength. It's his time. And Evan, still progressing. I mean, it's amazing how big he is, first of all, and he's even in better shape, and he's just trying to hone his offensive skills, his passing touch, things like that. That's where he's a little bit behind, but most guys that size, that's usually where they need the most development.
Jim?
Well, Rob Wilson talked about how hungry he is to get some of those available minutes. I'm curious if that has shown during the first week of practice.
Well, yeah, when he wasn't out of practice. You know, you can show you're hungry if you're on the court. If you're not on the court, you can't. He's missed practices because of injury. So we're just hoping that he's can be there every day. It's hard. It's hard when you're on, you're off, you're on, you're off. So he's trying to fight through that right now.
Just to follow up, are those the same injury issues as he had last year?
No, different type of injury.
Great.
Coach, talking to a couple of the guys, asked how last season ended. A couple wanted to get back on the court 10 minutes after the game and start playing again and working on this year. And some needed a little bit of time and have it, get in their mindset that focus on next year a couple of days later. What were your thoughts after the game last year and how it ended, and how anxious were you to get back and start another season and get a new group of guys going toward a common goal?
Well, I'm always ready. You have to remember that as coaches, here's what it's about for us. We try to give young men a chance to be as successful as they can be. If it's their time, it's their 4 years, it's their senior year, it's their, so, they had every opportunity to continue to play. So did everybody else. Not everybody gets to keep playing because somebody's going to be sent home. So whether it's in high school that you're playing and you miss in the sectionals, or you have a tough game go against you in the semis, or whatever it is, there's only one team that really, again, it doesn't change in basketball. There's one team in each division that gets to cut the nets down. And if you're not that team, the thing that you have to, if you're seniors, you have to leave with is, what kind of experience was it for me? Did I get the most out of my college experience? So, if a guy has a tough shooting night, if a guy forgets on a rotation defensively on a key play, the greatest part, like for our football team, is that they get to play again Saturday. When you lose at the end of the year, you gotta wait. So me, I'm always okay. We gotta work in the off season, recruiting, we've got speaking engagements, you have camp, you have this, you have that. There's always things for coaches to do. I'm always ready to play. I'm just always disappointed for the players if you're not the last team standing. But then they have to ask themselves, okay, what did I get out of the experience? What did I get out of the 4 years, the 3 years, the 2 year? Where are they after 2? For the guys that are going to be juniors this year. That's for them to answer. But if some of them are ready to play again, fine. If some of them weren't, I'm always ready to play. So it doesn't change for me.
Well, talking to a couple guys in there, Jordan and Jared Berger, and they said so far there's a renewed emphasis or more of a concentration or focus on getting the ball inside and getting more touches inside. Can you just talk about, how that's come about?
Well, people that are hungry to get it inside. I mean, you always want to touch the post. A lot of good things happen when you go through the post. But I emphasize it every year. But some guys are just comfortable with their back to the basket catching the ball, and some guys aren't. So without belaboring that point, it's just, there's not a coach around that doesn't want to touch the post. And there shouldn't be players. You know how tough Jordan is with the ball in the post? As strong as he is? I mean, I don't know if I'd want to tangle with him down there. He's even stronger this year. So I don't mind getting guards the ball in the post, bigs. Plus, again, I'll give you the stat. The highest percentage three is the three that was received, the pass was received from the post. Because the player catching it is facing the rim in a shooting position, in a ready position, and you don't have to worry about charting it. We've already done it over the years. The highest percentage three is after a post kick out. So, why not touch the post? Now, it's hard to do. People are playing good post defense.
Tom?
What do you think with some of the players you have now, you'll be better able to get back to the free throw line, maybe more so than you have the last couple of years?
You know what? The nice part is we got the right guys at the free throw line last year. The two guys who shot the most free throws were guys that shot over 80%. That's how you lead the country. But if you're not getting there as many times, who wouldn't want to shoot 30 a game? But as far as number of makes, even though we didn't shoot very many free throws, we were right in the middle. There were 5 teams above us and 5 teams below us as far as number of makes from the free throw line. So we got quality free throws. And there was some very quality ones towards the end of games that we closed out. But I always like to get to the line. It's always been something that our teams have emphasized, and hopefully we can get there more this year. You always want to.
Okay.
Good. Anybody else wants it?
It's very early, Bo, but among those freshmen, if you've seen anything from Jared Uthoff, anything about his game that he may challenge for minutes in that rotation this year?
He'll play at the University of Wisconsin, and he'll play early. He's a player. Better than expected. But don't tell him I said that. I think the other guys have a chance to play. I mean, I'm just saying he's right now, kind of picking up things like Josh did last year. Coaches like good listeners, fast learners. And I've never seen a more conscientious guy in a long time. I mean, he's extremely conscientious.
Well, I was talking to Duye during the session here a little bit. He was talking about his experience over in Croatia during the summer. Just curious, from what you've seen both on and off the court so far this season, does that help his confidence at all?
Well, he's stronger. That's physical play over there. Haven't been over in Serbia. So he's sticking his nose in a little more. And as a freshman, he's kind of trying to learn, pick his spots, that type of thing. But he's better this year. He's stronger. His shot looks more confident. And just like everybody else, they want to get on the floor for us. You got to get better defensively. You got to stop people. You got to block out. You got to be physical. No room for country clubbers. That's what we used to call soft players. But now, you know, once I joined the country club, I couldn't say it anymore.
Time for a couple more, if anybody has any questions.
Well, some of the guys were saying during the session that, you know, the style of play is, some people might describe it as boring here, but wins speak for themselves, and I'm just curious to get your perspective, you know, when you hear people say the word boring about the style of play, you know, what do you think?
Well, obviously, it's not players that say it. So it's people that don't know the game. They don't pay attention to the other team and how long it takes them to get a shot off against us. Our teams give up shots with more shots per second off of the shot clock than any other team in the league. So you got to credit defense. And the thing is, we're gonna take a good shot. So, you know, it's kind of like whenever I played tennis against guys that thought I was boring because I would just return everything, and they'd get mad. It would be like, well, don't you have can't you know, smash the ball, can't you? You just always get the ball back over the net. And it was kind of, yeah, but didn't I just beat you? You know, or they'd run up to the net and I'd put a little thing over their head, and it frustrates, especially the big guys. I used to play like Pete Bryan, Billy Pearson, two guys about 6'8", and they just thought they were so good. Tommy, you know those guys, you can ask them. And just get that little lob, oh gosh. And it'd be like, why don't you try to, you know, hit it real hard? I wanted to save my arm. Why did I hit it hard? Just try to win.
Ben?
What was Zach Bohannon said? You've called him J-Bo on mistake a few times.
Instead of Zebo, you know, he's Zebo. So, you know, I got to go further down in the alphabet.
I'm curious, I mean, he's not going to play this year for you guys in the court, but how big of an addition is that for you guys from a scouting perspective, a guy with knowledge?
Oh, he's already stirred the pot. He's already been a guy that when we do our competitive drills, he's already sent a few messages. You know, he's played a little bit in Division I, played at Air Force. And he's here because he wants to be here. And he's got a clue about what we like to do and how we like to do it.
Any other questions for Coach?
All right?
Thank you.